G'day and welcome back to I Call Bull, episode 4 on Stitch. So I bent this up just as a tester, except it's turned out so well that I'm going to run with it, but I will still show you guys how I made it up. But yeah, that's going to weld in there just beautifully and create an absolutely gorgeous lip. So, I shall get on with that. I'm not going to show you me welding that in because that's boring. But I will weld it in and then I will cut you back on. Okay, so that's welded up and in place and lines up beautifully. I have to weld it to this boot bracket underneath, but I mean, something I thought was going to be complicated took minutes, literally half an hour, from start to finish. A little bit of grinding and finessing. Got to fix that hole there, but that's fine. But yeah, done. Okay, it's a couple of days later since I last filmed. I've put some primer and gloss black acrylic on this this inner panel, just to protect it. Something that came up in the comments for the last video is somebody thought I was welding with galv. I don't use galv. I use zinc anneal. I always used to say zinc aluminum, but zinc aluminum is what they make colour-bond fences out of. It's in the name. Aluminium. So this is zinc anneal, which is basically it's mild steel sheeting. I'm pretty sure this is 1.2 mil, and it's got a zinc coating on the outside. I've always used it. It's very good. You can pretty much spray straight over it and it holds, or that's what I've found. And then when you go through the galv, you can use a good quality primer, and you should probably use a good etch primer if you go in the acrylic way, and then a regular surface primer after that. Or I used to just use the super cheap Autos high build primer, and that would stick to anything, and it was amazing stuff. But you can't get that anymore. You get some other brand that's super cheap now. So as for 2-pack stuff, a good epoxy I think is the way to start, and then you can go from there. So I'm just waiting for that to set up. It's had a couple of coats, and then I'm going to actually weld that sucker in place. I have decided. I was going to take this up home and put it on my Franken shaper. If you haven't seen the Franken shaper, you will be introduced to that at some point. You will see why I call it the Franken shaper when we get to that point. I'm going to put some, I think I've still got a bit of playing around to do here shape-wise. I think it's got to kind of dish a little bit more because it's got to marry up with that, but I will work on that as I go. So I've cut this out. I really don't want to, because that's kind of my guide as to exactly where I've got to be. So going to figure out how I'm going to do that. I'll probably cut along here and up and cut out what I have to cut out up the top here. Sorry. Cut out what I have to cut out at the top here, and then just leave it kind of hanging by a little bit to line me up. And then once I've got it welded in place and I'm happy with where it is, I will make the final cut and cut the web, so to speak. I should probably do a little bit of finessing here and tack that in, but I don't know whether I'll do that now or later. Like I say, I still got a lot of work to do down the bottom here, so that's where we're at. That's what we're going to do today, and I'm going to get on with it. Okay, I started welding that back in. It's going rather nicely. You can see 10 million little Tech screws across the bottom. That's just to pull that in so that it lines up nicely with in here, because obviously it needed to kind of come in and match that shape along the bottom there. So that's all looking rather good. Solid as. I've put some weld through there into this boot latch. I put a little relief cut up here. A little relief cut. I put a massive relief cut up here into some shoddy work that I did 10, 11 years ago that I'm going to rectify. And I belted this out, and there's problems everywhere here. This is going to be a big fix. And not just because of what I did up there, but also because it got hit in the back with a loader. This is all rusted. This is going to be the biggest part of this back section. Is sorting that out. But having said all that, where are we? That shuts beautifully. We've got quite a nice gap there. Obviously I'll gap everything before I'm done. This is playing funny buggers over here. I don't know how well you can see that. I've got a lot of glare on my screen at the moment. Use the old screwdriver as a key trick, and I mean, that's just, it's a 50-something-year-old car, 52-year-old car. And because I ran out of MIG wire yesterday, I started sanding back the primer. I've got some rust converter to put on this one. I've got it back. But then I went to Bunnings and Super Cheap today, and I got some more MIG wire, and I got some, oh, look at that. Look at those ugly things. There's some shapes in this baby. There's going to be a lot of panel beating this. I really do wish I had new quarters to put on it, but I don't. I don't have the money for them. So I will work with what I've got and repair it. I might redo that repair though, because that's shocking. I don't know. It must have been a race car. That's all I can think at some point. If you know why that would be there on the XP Falcons, please let me know, because I have no idea. I've never heard of it. Well, I stuffed up and I got the gas MIG wire, not the gasless MIG wire. So, more for me for not reading the packet more thoroughly. So, I'm going to go on with stripping the side here, which, seems a little futile considering how much I've got to do, but I've got to take that back and exchange it. So, I'm just going to get on with stripping. I don't think I'm going to do a time lapse of that. I'll just cut you back on once I've got some work done and I want to talk to you. I've got me rust, rust converter, rust preventative stuff up at home. I think it's Evapor Rust. I've got that at home. I could go and get it now. I'm probably just going to get on with stripping for now and worry about going and getting that later. So that's what I'm going to do. What am I going to strip with? I'm going to use, I went to Super Cheap for those of you in Australia, and I got a Tool Pro polyester abrasive disc, which is these things. Those of you who've been with me from the beginning know that I really like these things. They're not great at stripping rust or anything like that, but I just want to take this primer off, because this primer was put on 11 years ago, and then it's just absorbed the moisture. So I need to get the primer off, then I need to go through the various grades to sand that back without taking too much metal off, and then I'll evapor rust it, and then tomorrow I'll probably strip that back and prime it. So that's the plan. I'll cut you in and out because I'm really bummed at myself right now for not paying more attention. So yeah, that's my afternoon. Okay, I'd be surprised if I was 20 minutes of that. Those stripper discs are amazing. And they're much more gentle than these, where are they? Flap discs. I wouldn't suggest using a flap disc these days to strip paint. Back in the day, that's what we used to use. You know, I've seen a lot of different ways of stripping paint in the last 30 years. You know, we used to use electric third sheet orbital sanders, and you know, we did it with heat guns, and we did it with scrapers, and what else? The big resin discs or whatever they are on the drill. I've seen it done like that, and have done it like that. And especially with the older paints, they just turn to glue and clog everything up. These stripper discs, look, they are phenomenal. They're just the best thing ever. Now, this thing's been stripped more than once in its life, and you can see the harshness of what it's been stripped with before. And in some spots, like here, I just don't even know how thick that is. I wouldn't be surprised if I could put a pick straight through that. So I just don't know what I'm going to do here. I'm going to be really honest with you. If I had another side, if I had another rear quarter, I would put it in. I don't have another rear quarter, and it bothers me because I think, if we repair this, how long will we get out of it? You know, I don't want to be redoing this in 5 years, 10 years. I want him to get a long time out of this. So I just don't know. But again, like I keep saying, we work with what we got. So it's what we've got. It's what we'll work with. But yeah, that's back to bare metal. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to try and strip some of the roof. And then, so I didn't say earlier, but so then what I do is I come back and I put, I'll go probably 80 on the orbit, and then 120, and then probably 240. And that's probably as coarse as I'll go, or as fine as I'll go on that. And then I'll prime it, and I will worry about repairs later. I'm not happy with that, so I'll be cutting that out and putting a new bit in. Yeah, don't want to talk about it, don't want to think about it. This is another one of those little stripper discs. Temu, I got a heap of these on Temu for nothing. So cheap. So, you know, to get in those finer areas, so like in here, I'll use this bad boy here, I'll use that baby there. I'm just going to keep doing what I can do today. This up here, I reckon I'll be replacing this whole shebang up here, and I think that's going to be a mammoth job, so I'm not going to think about it right now. Because I know that this steel here is super thin, because tapping it with, like, to try and get this crease out, it's going up and down like it's a bit of tissue paper. So one bite at a time, my friends, one bite at a time.
Take it like it.
I can't believe that was only 19 seconds worth of footage. It took quite a bit longer than that, obviously, with the time lapse. So that's what that looks like. You got your before and after. There's a lot of work got to go on here. And I don't know whether you can see the shapes in that or not, but there are a lot of shapes in that. So a lot of hammer and dolly work. This was originally a vinyl roof car, and I can see why. There's lots of little shapes and stuff. For those of you that don't know, maybe our younger viewers, they used to put vinyl roofs on vehicles that had faults with the roof when they came out of the production, and so that's basically they did that to mask the issues. That's what these holes here are for. They're for the trim, chrome trim or stainless steel trim that separated the vinyl roof from the body. Yeah, much like the side here, I don't know how that's going to come up once I start sanding it. I'm not going to worry about doing the other side right now. It's now 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I've probably got about another 40 minutes worth of daylight. So rather than starting over there, I'm going to get the air sander out, and I'm going to start sanding this and that with probably with some 80 grit, possibly 60, but probably 80 grit. We'll see how we go with the 80. If it's too fine, then I'll go coarser. So again, I'll probably put you on a time lapse for that. So that's how that's ended up. It's quite nice compared to what it was at the beginning of this. But you can still see, even though I've gone over it with the stripper disc and then the orbital with the 80 on it, and then I've gone back to it with the air stripper to get some of these finer bits, you still got surface rust in there, which is why I need the Evapo Rust. Another really good product which you can get at Bunnings in Australia is Ranex, not Ranex, Ranex, and that's a very good product. I used to use that a lot when I was young, but I just happened to have a voucher for super cheap and it was on sale, so I grabbed a heap of the Evapo Rust. I'm keen to give it a go, see if it performs as well as I remember Ranex working. All that being said, my light is going, so I'm going to race home, grab the grab the Evapo Rust, and come back down and put that on. Yeah, look, I think he's going to put a vinyl top back on this, which is good because there's a lot of dents, and if he wasn't putting a vinyl roof on, I'd be spending a lot more time. So I'm going to spend a lot of time knocking the dents out and getting them as close as I can. But if he was going to go for paint over vinyl roof, I would be a lot more, how do I put it, intentional than I will be if he decides he's going to put the vinyl roof on. If he puts the vinyl roof on, then I will get it close, but not perfect. I'll get it 100% good enough. To steal Carl Fisher's saying that he stole from someone else, make it custom. But yeah, you can see this stuff here, it does not want to budge. So I'm probably going to end up getting some kind of sandblasting system happening on that if the Evapo Rust doesn't deal with it. So stay tuned. That's the Evapo Rust, and I had a look online and I couldn't find anywhere where they're using it on panels, whereas the Ranex we used to put on panels all the time. So what I did is I poured it into this pump bottle, pressurised pump bottle, pressurised the heck out of it, and I saturated the roof. It says to leave for 12 to 24 hours. It's quite cool where I am, so I wanted to see what it did on the unsanded rust and also what it does on the where I sanded it back. You can see it's already having an effect. It's only been about 5 minutes. So I'll give that another coat before I leave. Hopefully that stays wet overnight. Starting to streak down here. And yeah, I guess I'll find out tomorrow. I don't know what it does to concrete, so I've got cardboard down there. time will tell, I guess, and I'll let you guys know tomorrow. But, you know, certainly seems to be doing something. That's it, that's it, evapor-rusted. I'm about to go home for the night and leave it. Oh yeah, I'm not sure what to expect. I do like how glossy that looks though, but it really does show up every little bump. Yeah. Rain-X by now, stuff would be going really black. Or Ran-X, sorry, not Rain-X. Ran-X by now, things would be going really black to let me know that it was working. This is not doing that. Am I dubious? Absolutely, especially now that I've seen that there's no videos available in my area that I've seen. So, yeah. I'm just not sure. I hope it works, I really do. But I just don't know. Anyway, tomorrow's another day. Alright, so that's it the next morning. I've given it a quick wipe down with that microfiber cloth there that's damp, and it definitely seems to have done something. I had a bit of a research last night, and evapor-rust is not a rust converter, which, if I remember rightly, and I may not because it was 30 years ago, the Ran-X also converted it. Don't quote me on that. The top doesn't look great. I don't know what I'm going to do here. I'd say I'm going to have to sandblast that because it's not really playing the game if this converter didn't work, and it doesn't look like it did because I've done a mild wipe down up here and it's not really coming off. I'm going to hit it with a wire wheel on the angle grinder and see if that removes these little bits. And I'll go over it with the sander again once I've dried it all off. And we'll just see. I'm going to etch prime it. Just to keep it, I mean it's bare metal, so edge primer is going to keep some of the moisture out. Obviously I've got a lot of dents to remove and little bits of rust, and I'm going to replace that. I think, looking at how thin this metal is here, I'm probably going to have to make patches up there too. So had a look last night, went on to NOS, Better Than NOS parts. They do a lot of repair panels, patch panels for these Falcons. Couldn't see a whole quarter there. I went to Rare Spares, you could get a bottom quarter. It's not really the bottom quarter that I need, it's the whole side. I know you can get them somewhere. Not that that's necessarily the way I'm going to go, but I'm just looking at options right now, so because it's big. But I mean, it looks better now it's stripped. Alright, I'm going to get on with it. I just went round with the wire wheel, which I need to replace because it's getting down a fair bit, but on the old angle grinder. And focus. It's chewed them out. It feels like, it seems like the evapor rust got all the way into that rust. Yeah. So where we go from here, I'm not quite sure. I'm going to sand it with the Orbit again with the 80 on it, and then I'm going to just prime it for today. It's Sunday, so I don't want to be out here doing the hours today. I've got stuff to do at home. I'll give that a crack with the wire wheel. I suspect that's just going to glaze over when I hit that with the wire wheel up here. But I'll let you know. Okay, so I'm reasonably happy with how that's come up for now. I did a section here. Not very happy with that. Did a section here. Not terribly happy with that. So the roof is going to require something different. I dare say I'll be sandblasting the roof, which which is not ideal. It's going to get everywhere, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. You can't just, I guess you can't just leave them for years and years and years and expect that it's going to be a simple solution. So sandblasting, some kind of media blasting, that's what's going to happen up here. But that'll be a later date. So I will put some edge primer on that just to stop it getting any worse. And I'll put edge primer on this. The edge primer, just be aware, the edge primer for me is just going on so that it keeps it from rusting again. So now I have a clean slate to work from. I'll put some edge primer on it. I can work around that. I can grind it back, fill, whatever. That'll be fine. As you can see with the light, you've got wicked repairs to do here and there, and you know, it's going to be long-winded. So I'm going to call this one here. I know I said I'd show you guys how I bent that lip up, but I'll do that in a later one when I get back onto this beastie here. I'm going to have to make up a lot more of that lip, so I will endeavour to show you then. But for now, I'm just going to prime this baby, and that's going to be it for this episode. So thank you for watching. Appreciate you guys. Please be kind to one another. It's free to be kind. And thank you for subscribing. Please like, comment, share it around. I appreciate all of those things. Till next week.